We're here.
Oh, look at that. That's some
good
color.
Yeah, man.
The drip tee. I tell you what, the color of this. Wow, that looks fantastic. Good job, guys.
That's killer contrast. Man, great design.
Beautiful.
So,
how are you, brother?
I'm great, man. It's Wednesday.
We're at the Formula.
We're live, but not per our normal time or day.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when you're, just executing content daily.
I'm leading the way with thoughts on a daily basis.
Titans of industry.
we had a little schedule change. So Prady, my business partner, he actually flew home where his family's from, which was a total nightmare for him with COVID and everything like that. He's going home for a couple of weeks. He lives in the Netherlands and going to see his family. And COVID did not make that very friendly for him.
Right.
So he's going back there to see him. So we changed up the programming a little bit today. So I appreciate you.
Oh, dude. Yeah, of course. No. So if you guys have been following TNS specifically, you'll know that we've been working on this new kind of initiative in the Upstate Coalition. Mm-hmm. And along with that's another podcast called the Upstate Strength Cast. And it's very driven towards basically fitness and gym centers in the Upstate. And so that's what we were doing on Monday as I was actually part of that. So I'm kind of glad we got to transition that.
So I saw a real brief clip of your podcast.
Yeah.
So who was that?
So that was Chad Delaney. He's co-owner of TriFit Barbell.
Okay, I've seen you there.
Yeah, he's a nationally ranked USAPL powerlifter. And so he just got back from California at like a national event, and he's been asked a lot of questions about steroids. And so that was our conversation yesterday, or Monday, and it wasn't like just about steroids. It was like the morality behind it. Mm-hmm. And so,
Well, that's kind of interesting. Well, because I want to talk more about that, but it was funny. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you saw the other day, our beautiful friend Chris Waldrum that was on here last week with us. He did a Q&A. Did you see his Q&A the other day?
I didn't happen to, no.
So, and it's kind of, I don't want to get away from the coalition talk, but this was was kind of a topic of conversation a lot this week.
Right.
Because Jeff Long did the same thing. So Jeff Long does a Q&A every day, and literally like 60% of the questions that he gets are about drugs. Mm-hmm. Like, and what's his cycles? And he's like, look, I don't do that stuff anymore. He's like, I have a business, and he's like, I don't want to talk about it anymore. He basically said eventually, he's like, I'm not answering these questions anymore. I'm done. And so Chris did a Q&A the other day about his contest prep. Mm-hmm. And he said something about asking me about supplements or my training or PEDs. And I'm like, every single question is going to be about PEDs. And sure enough, man, every single freaking question he got. And it just goes back to that mentality that people are sitting there looking at other people, looking at Jeff Long, in his competition days, and looking at people and going, if I just know the drugs that they're taking, I can do that too. And then everything's magically taken care of. It's just such a crazy mind fuck about this entire
industry. And also, like, as somebody myself who's taken a few different substances and PEDs, it's crazy because the guys that do the most of them, and we had this conversation, they look the worst. Like me, dude, like a lot of it's genetics and time. For sure. And so, like, for me, when I took tests and Anavar, like, I blew up. But these guys are taking like Tren, Winstrol, Deca, all this extra shit, and they look terrible. Yeah. But that's not, we're not there to condone drug use. That's never, obviously I do not condone it, but I'm open about it. I don't really care.
Yeah. Well, and it was kind of funny because I remember like a few of the questions Jeff would get, someone would like lay out their cycle for him, and he's just like, are you insane?
Yeah. Right.
He's like, where do you get the money for this? He's like, you're crazy.
All of the highest level performers in any sport, bodybuilding, powerlifting, strongman, all the people that I know that are at the top of their game, they don't use much. They let their nutrition and their training and their recovery take precedence. So
it's kind of like, and I think, I don't have any experience with it, but I know enough people that do, and I get like I think a lot of people, I don't know if you can like kind of elaborate on this, but some people assume it's sort of like a shortcut way to do it, but a lot of people that I know, they're really well versed with it, are like, it actually, you kind of have to work harder to sort of justify the things that you're kind of taking, or else you're just taking all this stuff. And, kind of like even with supplements, sometimes we're like, are you really training hard enough to justify, a $35 stack, every single day, like some people take? Yeah.
No, I think people look at it as like a shortcut, and there is something to be said. And we talked about this the other day with like specific compounds increasing hyperplasia, right? Creation of new muscle cells. So like, and even in people, they did studies on people who were paralyzed from the waist down, and their legs actually hypertrophied during like doses of steroids.
Did you post that just like maybe a couple weeks ago? Or
so that was the hyperplasia study that Brad Schoenfeld reposted. And then this one I'm quoting is from another study. But I guess more of what I'm saying is it's not a shortcut, because while, yes, it will give you muscle gains, even if you don't do shit, you're really shooting yourself in the foot on the back end when you come off of them. Because what these people who go into it don't realize is that they're creating a huge disruption of their own endocrine system, unlike anything naturally that they could take. And they're going to lose it all, whatever they gain, if they're not doing things properly. So they work, but there comes with a hell of a lot of implications that,
Yeah, and I actually did a story. Well, I got a question yesterday, and I actually got some really like amazing feedback about it. Someone asked me a question about like, do I ever see myself like getting as lean, like trying to get as lean as possible? Like, again, like trying to see how incredibly lean like I could get. And I said, I have a totally like inverse relationship with that whole thing than I used to. And then a lot of people I talk to, and like I said, this is not like good or bad or anything like that. Not that if you're super lean that there's something wrong with you. Like, but for me, I used to like, and what a lot of people that we run into, I think in this space, the mirror dictates how they feel about themselves. Right. So you wake up in the morning, you look at yourself in the mirror and go, it's going to be a good day or it's going to be a bad day, depending on that, where I've sort of got to the point in my life where I know what I need to do to get through the day the best way possible, to try my best to be mentally and physically healthy, to be a good business partner, a good partner, a good friend, things like that. I know what I have to do just to be in that wheelhouse. And then how I look physically is almost like the byproduct of what I do, rather than the reverse, which is the way I used to be. So I told that guy, I was like, it's just not something I even think about.
Right.
Okay, Martin, never crosses my mind.
And that point, I think it becomes a bad relationship with food and with your lifestyle. Like we all have a relationship with our lifestyle mentally, and so like, what is your relationship with that way of living? If you are like allowing the way you look and feel or look that day to dictate the rest of your day's behavior and activity, you got it all wrong,
Yeah, and we know a lot of people that do.
Yeah, it's rough, man. I mean, and hell, I've been there. I mean,
it's not a judgment
especially
thing.
Like I think the number one time when it happens to me is after I go through a little cut, because I'm transitioning into re-adding a little bit more water weight back on, and it does not feel comfortable. Yeah. But during the cut or during a mass phase, I don't really let that dictate my day, because I got too much other shit to worry about.
Right. Well, and that's I think that's kind of part of it too. Is it kind of depends on. We just have so many other things that are the priority there, and like I said, you have to have enough mental and physical energy to get through what we go through every single day, the stress and combating the stress. And I was talking to you about this earlier about blocking out some of the things that if you let them get to you, like Sean's in here too. Sean can attest to this too. There's a lot of things where if we stop and think about what we're doing on a day-to-day basis, you'd freak out. Because you'd be like, this is insane. Like, so you just don't think about it. Like
I let my list guide me. That's,
Exactly. And that's why lists are important.
I live and die by that, because dude, and I have brief periods of letting it like stopping to think about it. It's like, oh shit. I gotta do this, that, and the other.
What?
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. Well, we're talking about, it was just about a year ago. So a year and a week ago, it was the party. It was the first time I came down here. And then I came back like a couple weeks later, which will be like next week or like the week after that. So if I were to like the whole process of me sort of packing up and moving and changing up lives and coming down here, if I were to stop and think about it at any point in time, I would have probably freaked out and not done it. But I just said,
but now
I'm not even gonna think about it.
Now that you reflect back on it, how do you think about it? Like, what the fuck was I doing?
Yeah, I think it's like absolute. Like when I talk to someone that I haven't talked to in a while, that's what actually started happening. Was I would see some people, or I would talk to some people from maybe the industry that I hadn't talked to since maybe like last year, and they would ask like, how are things going? And I'm like, and I would start to tell them, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how is this even possible? Like in 1 year to have so much crazy stuff happen. And then, like, being in a space where everybody's sort of like branching off into the unknown constantly and trying to like forge a new path and trying to open up new opportunities. Dude, every day, like crazy shit happens sometimes.
It's wild.
It's like, holy, it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. I mean, it's, like, we were made a skit yesterday of some kind, and Isaac just looked at me and he was like, where the fuck do I work? He's like, he's like, because we're always doing stuff that's like just kind of off the wall crazy. It's like, to outside looking in, we definitely don't work, but I mean, it is work, so it's crazy to reflect on everything that goes on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Sometimes if I step outside myself and watch, I'm like, what are you doing here? First of all, like, how the hell did you get here?
Yeah.
And why didn't somebody try to stop you? Why didn't you stop?
Yeah. Who let this guy in? It's like you have this like threshold of entry. It's like,
but it's because once you get in that mentality, you just do it, right? And you're just like, then I think we talk about this all the time when it comes to mindset. There's just really, you have two choices. I think we talk to people on both sides of the coin all the time, and we're all thinking the same things. Like, I want to do this, I have this, and then you either continue to talk about it or you just do it.
And that's the thing, man. When we talk to people who do, their response to what they're doing is, I'm doing this.
Right.
Or this is happening. It's not, I want to, or if only I could. And so it's a shift. And one of my best friends, Andy, and I talk about this a lot. And we had this conversation a few weekends ago. And it was talking about the shift in perspective that has to happen to become the best version of yourself. And it's not black and white. Like, you don't just wake up one day and just decide and then everything's changed forever.
Right.
It's like a prescription that you have to take every day and keep cultivating your mindset to view the world in that way. Because I know you do the same. We view the world as opportunity, as there's a million opportunities, abundance, right? But people who don't, that we see on a day-to-day basis, like the gentleman that you saw me consulting with yesterday when you came in last night, I can't do it because of my job.
Yeah.
I can't do it because I don't have time.
I wish I would have recorded that.
But I'm like sitting here after he listed out what all he wanted and why he wanted it so badly. Then he tells me he can't. I'm like, dude, you got to shift your perspective.
Yeah.
So it's definitely an intricate, like, philosophical conversation, but.
Well, so you'll like this. We were actually on a call with someone the other night, a client of ours. And, sometimes Brady, he says some things, like, if people haven't followed along with my business partner at Something with Snoop, he comes up with some stuff. And he said, he's talking to him and he goes, man, and we were just getting into this sort of business philosophy kind of conversation. And he's like, business is the last great frontier that we're sort of doing. He's like, now people are like going to space and stuff. He goes, but like exploration is almost like kind of done, we're kind of, you're not going off and like trying to discover, new countries and do all. So he goes, business is the one thing that there's no cap. He's like, he's like, no one's going to stop you.
Right.
If you just keep going, he's like, there's no cap to that. And he's like, he called it like the last great frontier of the world. And I was like, son of a bitch.
True. That's kind of good. That's kind of true, man. And that's a common consistency with people who, like, you don't see, like, nobody's going to stop you, but also there's such a high likelihood of being successful if you stick it out for the long term, and the consistency of it. Yeah. I was thinking about that the other day. I was listening to a cast and it was like, obviously consistency's beat into the ground. We talk about it all the time, but the businesses fail within the first 3 to 5 years, typically. After you reach that lump, you're good, Yep. So I always kind of see that in terms of like, okay, you're doing the right thing. Just keep hitting the ground running. Yeah.
Sometimes it's almost like you just have to outlast the rules.
Yeah. I was going to say, there's there for a reason.
Yeah.
And,
like you just have to outlast the numbers catching up with you. Cause it's like, once you sort of get past, we did the same thing. There was lots of times within the first like year of doing what I was doing that I'm like, well, this is not going the way I anticipated, and I could just go and continue to work my career and stuff like that. But I don't know, man.
Bro, I totally feel that. It's so close to home because of the past 2 months, like with Greenville and stuff. And like I've caught myself, especially the last few months, it's starting to pick up a little bit better out there, and we're getting a little bit more traction. But it was like, did I make the wrong choice? Yeah. Like, should have I just focused on the brand? Should have I made more products instead of opening another store? But no, you just keep plugging into the formula and doing it. You know?
So, I remember because you made that post, and I was like, well, good thing you're built for this shit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and like that post, and I know you didn't interpret it this way. I made a post, guys, last week talking about the struggles of like opening in Greenville and how it's a different place, how it's a different kind of vibe. And when I make those posts, one thing that boomers don't really realize is that I'm not asking for congrats. I'm not asking for people to give me advice.
Right.
I'm really just putting it out there because I know there's somebody who might be going through the same struggles.
100%.
And I got a myriad of unsolicited advice, and you know how I feel about that. People, especially on Facebook, people thought that I was asking for marketing advice. And you know how much I love my marketing.
Me too. I do. And I love unsolicited advice.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of like the danger of that. But that's the way I interpreted it, was because, well, and you and I actually talked about this like on one of our podcasts before you actually made the move out there. I said, there's a lot of people that will just say, oh, this just makes sense. You have built this, so now you go here and now you have twice of everything. And I'm like, that's not true at all. Like you're literally going through the same process that you went through here, the same crazy, insane thing you went through here. You want to go do it again.
Yeah.
So it's like it's for crazy people, but you know that you can do it because you've already done it once, and you know that you're not going to give up. But that's the way I took it, was basically as perspective for people. It's like,
because I want people to see what I'm going through. Like I think that if it can help somebody who might be starting a business or doing their own thing, that's why I post it. But I think social media misconstrues things.
Yeah, because there's times where like I try to be very like transparent with people, just because I know that I've gotten enough messages. People are like, we appreciate the way you're open about things. There's some people that are like, oh, you should. And that's like one thing. Like if you ever start off a thing to me that's saying you should or you need to, I won't read the rest of it.
Yeah.
Unless I ask you specifically for advice.
Yep.
I won't read the rest of what you have to say because I don't care.
Exactly. And that's, I have a lot of friends. My friend Kayla, she's in marketing, and we don't utilize her services yet, but, she'll approach me and say, hey, you mind if I give you a little bit of advice here? I love that.
That's totally
Please
different.
do. Please do. You asked permission, you entered the door, but for you, for people to come in and comment and be like, well, you should be doing this. You should.
Gives me like anxiety, like just thinking about it.
But yeah, anyway, what else we got going on, man?
Well, so I want to talk about the coalition.
Oh, yeah.
Circle back to the coalition thing.
Great. Yeah. So
should never come to Florida. That's kind of mean. I was going to go there to see you.
I mean, that's some positive unsolicited advice, but
you should come here.
Yeah, Casey, come on. So the coalition, the cast obviously was about steroid use, etc. The cast is actually going to be an evolving thing. We're going to probably the first 10 episodes or so are going to be at one spot, but the kind of the agreement we've had with all the gym owners. Oh Lord, we're going to take a brief one to address this. Let me grow your social media, and you look at oh yeah, dude. Yeah. Well, let me grow your social media, Braden. You get this, man. Or people who have a bunch of fake followers.
Braden, do you really need a 4XL t-shirt?
Yeah, we need we need to know that one. No, I'm saying since you said people say you should, that you. Oh, okay. So she's reverse psychology, and okay,
it's a very Casey thing to say.
Yeah. So we're gonna go to different gyms and hold the casts, right? So like different gyms, different people. Yeah, fucking right.
I love it.
And then the entire concept of the coalition itself is to once obviously all the members of these gyms get discounts at TNS, but also I want to hold either monthly or probably quarterly seminars where we bring all the professionals in the upstate together to educate and spread the knowledge. So right now we're working on a upstate kind of upstate, coalition fitness seminar for probably Q3 or Q4 of this year. We have elite level powerlifters, elite level CrossFitters. Actually, our local CrossFit box, CrossFit Crash, JR is number 4 in the world right now. He's competing at the CrossFit Games from Spartanburg.
Wow.
But he's in 4th place, so shout out to him. But yeah.
So correct me if I'm wrong, that was not like part of your plan when you first went out to Greenville, was it?
No.
I didn't think so, because I feel like I talked to you like one day and then it like hit you. Like, I feel like I was there when you're like, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. Because it was like,
well, you know, for a while, man, I kind of let the concept of any competition kind of get under my skin. And then I started to transition myself after the 3 year, and I was like, we're not a store. Like, I don't have to worry about any other stores competing with me, because I remembered why I got started, and it was for so much more than just to sell supplements.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, let's go back a little bit. Let's bring people together.
Yeah.
Because that's what benefits us.
And that's what I love about it. And that's like one thing that I noticed when I was talking to you about it that day, just from also having those conversations with you about competition and things like that. And I remember kind of thinking like, that's not you. That's not you. Like, that you're playing sort of like your own game kind of thing. And I remember you saying that, and I was like, back to your roots.
Yeah.
Back to your root. You're like, forget, why am I even trying to like, or why am I worrying about competing? Like, that's not what happened when you started this.
Well, and also, like, you and I had the conversation, man, I hate freaking supplement stores.
Right.
Like, I'm so anti supplement store owners for the most part, like the way they run their operations. It's just very,
it's not you.
It's not me, you know? And so I was like, wait, no, why am I even putting myself in this box? So,
but it's easy to do, you know, it happens all the time. I mean, we all have, you know, we talk about not having competition, but at the same time, like, anytime you're competing for someone's business or eyes, like, you're competing with someone, and it's really easy to kind of like look around and then get off your task at hand. You know, it happens to everybody. So I remember kind of seeing it, and you're like, no, this is what I'm going to do. And I was like, fuck yes. Like, cause that's TNS. Like, that other way is not TNS.
Right. Exactly. And so we actually have banners on the way for every gym and every business that's going to be involved with it. It's a 3x3 banner. Yes. And so they'll plant them in their gyms, which is saying, hey, I'm a part of something bigger than just this gym. And then we'll start rolling out the seminars and the events and the get-togethers. But I truly think that, I think that people who do CrossFit can benefit from some techniques from those who do Olympic lifting and powerlifting, and bodybuilders can benefit from the proper programming that powerlifters had, and so,
putting more tools in your toolbox.
That's exactly right. And all the younger business owners that I'm talking to out there, and in the upstate too, all the younger gym owners, they're so on board. Like, they're like, we need something like this. Now the older ones, kind of scarcity mindset. I had a gym tell me last week, oh no, we can't put these flyers out because it represents another gym, because we're having that cookout this Friday at the Relentless Life Center. And it represents another gym. I'm like, so what? It's to bring people together, man. So
and that's what was going to be a question I was going to ask you is, has there been any like sort of like pushback, kind of expecting that it's almost like, I mean, we see it in the supplement space all the time. I think we've seen sort of like a little bit of a shift, or maybe it's just a shift in the people that we talk to a lot, where all walks of life come to TNS's Christmas party, and everybody's just sharing stories about how they grow their business. They're all buying each other's products and hanging out and stuff like that. Whereas it wasn't like that as much, especially like a few years back. But I think now too, with the way you have access to so many people so easily, that you don't really have to play that game anymore. And it really kind of makes you look weird if you do. Yeah. Because it's like, well, I don't understand. Like, if you have access to all these people, if focusing on the bigger picture, the greater good, if you will, sort of seems to benefit people better anyway. It's good for business and it's good for the community anyway. So like, why not do it? Well,
and exactly. If I help you and you help me, we're benefiting each other. And I don't think that there has to be a stepping on each other's toes involved with that. Right. Even if we were in the same field, like if we both had brands, like we find our niche and we stick to it, So, but yeah, it's going to be a good time, man.
Well, and the thing of it is too, is like, especially I would be confident if I had a great product.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I would be like, great, I'll get access to your, so, I mean, look at the way internet and e-commerce and stuff like that works. You're trying to poach other companies' customers all the time. Like, so that's why, like, I've heard some supplement companies, they have like a very interesting viewpoint over on like some companies that maybe get trashed by some companies in the industry. They're like, good, let them bring people in. I'll get them later, kind of thing. I'll show them that I just do things, maybe better, or maybe I just have a more like relatable business model, and then they'll get them that way. So it's almost like they're kind of doing marketing for you, rather than you trying to find new customers. They'll bring you some.
And like, so in I agree. In like the physical space, kind of in the coalition sense, like, let's say that we have an event where 5 or 6 different gyms are there, and the podium speaker at the event is the main power lifter in the area, and you go to a CrossFit gym. Well, I don't see the problem in saying, hey, I'd like to hire him for a few sessions and like go over here, learn from him, come back and bring what I've learned and spread it to my gym, So I think it's a benefit to everybody.
Yeah, it's kind of like I've always like, you get those questions about like, well, what's the best diet or the best training style? And I always tell people, I was like, try everything. Like literally try everything. And even like supplements, like go try it all. Like obviously we don't want you to like waste your money, but go pick anything off the shelf. Try every single thing that's on the shelf and then figure it out. Kind of thing. Exactly. And then you get to pick and choose what makes most sense for you in what situations.
I agree. Yeah. I agree, man. So that's the synopsis of it. And
it's really cool, man.
Thanks,
really
man. Thank you. But anything else going on in your world this week, or anything we got notable? Obviously, we don't have a guest, so it's probably going to be a little bit of a shorter cast, but still.
We do have we're going to finally have a new supplements, new T-shirt.
Hell yes, that's exciting.
Finally,
very exciting.
People have been asking about it a lot, but so we have. I don't know. We'll show it.
Would you want me to show it right now, or you want me to wait?
We'll wait.
Okay,
we'll wait. We'll probably put it up. We'll put it up on the private Facebook group first.
I gotcha.
But I was sitting there the other day thinking about something. Something just kind of popped in my head, and it's kind of got some nostalgia to it and things like that. So
I like it.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. So we'll get that rolling. Other than that, man, it's just been such a. I think like it's unfortunate because a lot of like what we're doing, we kind of lament about the supply chain and the things that are going on. They're really like stifling the creativity of what we want to do with some of our clients, like long-term, big picture kind of plans. It's like you sometimes you get stuck in this mode of you're just putting out fires every day, and that's been kind of the way it's been lately. It's been really unfortunate. So it's like you're trying to put out fires, but at the same time you're trying to think, okay, where's the other part of it? Because, but anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. But yeah, that's exciting. The shirt's coming, and we're gonna make sure, or I'm gonna ensure that your shirts are gonna have the highest quality possible. So,
they're gonna be the super soft.
Yeah, and if we want to work out anything like we've talked about before, if you want us to use our site to run it for your people or anything, we can discuss that too if it helps you.
Our people are your people.
Oh, exactly. So, and then also, guys, if you're local and watching this, the Upstate Classics next month, and I'm talking about that here and there. We'll start doing some heavy promotion for it, but I'm super proud and honored to be the title sponsor this year. And the reason I say that is Dutch was a close friend of mine. He was the guy who ran the show every year, and I remember going to the shows when I was a kid. My dad would take me, and I met Dutch after I opened this place, and he actually is the guy who opened up the snackatoriums for us. 2 weeks later, he passed. And so that was his show, and I always said, I'm going to be the main sponsor of a show like that one day. So anyway, rambling aside, guys, if you come to the show, we're giving these custom TNS wear shirts out. And we're also doing them in white. These are going to be 100% free at the show. That is just our way of showing love. So we've got those on the way.
It's a lot of love.
Hey, listen, dude, when we set up booths, when we do events, we do not sell. We do not sell samples or supplements. I mean, we'll give them to you if you want at an event, but our goal is to provide value and just be honest with you guys. So,
and what is that's August 21st?
August 21st, Saturday.
We'll be there.
Running all day, man.
We'll be there hanging out with you for
thanks,
sure.
Dude. Yeah, it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that aside.
Yeah, man, that's good. We're good.
Yeah.
Good.
You look good.
Yeah.
You feel good?
I feel fantastic.
Hell yeah. Well, sweet deal, guys. Hey, thank y'all so much for tuning into the formula, and thanks for 10 episodes. This is our 10th.
That's crazy. How's that possible?
It just kind of compiles. I hope it's our 10th. If not, I'm kind of dropping the ball here, but
it probably is.
Guys, thanks so much. Hey, if you're watching this right now and you want to catch up on the earlier conversation, go check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, YouTube. Anywhere that has some audio or visual, we're probably going to be there. Yeah. So love you guys. Thank y'all. And we'll see you probably next week.
Yep.